explain to me how y'all can discuss colorism on Housewives of Potomac without addressing how majority of the cast is light-skinned? How do y'all have a discussion about colorism with a group of women who don't experience it? Y'all wanted to keep the conversation in-house. Well, how can y'all grow and unlearn your colorism if you're only talking about it amongst the people in the group? Wendy is the one who experiences the most colorism. So really and truly, if anyone should have been moderating the conversation, it should have been her. I think I'm done. I really do. I think that we have come to the end. Real Housewives of Potomac audience, I'm tired. You know, I'm tired of being gaslit. I'm tired of my intelligence being played with. I'm sick of this. Yeah, this might be the last time that I review this show. I watched the Housewives of Potomac reunion and it was lackluster. I'm gonna take this time to address the colorism. I'm gonna talk more about colorism on my review than they did throughout the whole reunion. The colorism on Housewives of Potomac is loud. It's in your face. It's unapologetic. And the fact that they really just tried to brush over it, you know, and skim past it is really insulting. You know, I talk about the colorism. It's blatant, and they tried to make it seem like it was just not that big of a deal. First of all, I'm not even going to review the entire reunion or part 2 because nothing really happened this reunion, aside from Mia continuously lying. They talked about Giselle and her dwindling uterus. I don't care about that. I just want to talk about the colorism, and I'm gonna go. So they have this discussion. This literally, it was like all in 5 minutes. And let's start with the good. There wasn't much good. One thing that I do appreciate is that you know, Andy did not lead the conversation. Andy is a white man, like he said so himself. He's a cisgendered white man. He knows nothing about colorism. He knows nothing about the black community. So I'm glad that he did not you know, moderate the conversation. However, I don't think that Candace should have led the conversation either. She clearly does not have the range to have this discussion. I'm a little annoyed with how she handled it. Candace, I'm a little annoyed with how Candace handled the colorism discussion. I feel like she made it all about her, and instead of like talking about like colorism overall. First of all, I don't understand how y'all can, let's get into it. Please explain to me how y'all can discuss colorism on Housewives of Potomac without addressing how majority of the cast is light skinned. Like that in itself is a major example of colorism alone. Like, as if there aren't any dark-skinned women, as if there's not any successful, prominent dark-skinned women in the Potomac, DC area. That, like, as if only light-skinned, high yellow bitches live in Potomac. Like, that in itself is colorism. So the fact that it just goes to show how ill prepared y'all were for this discussion. Y'all were not prepared going in. There are so many instances and so many examples of colorism that was not touched on, that was completely ignored. Some of the women didn't even say anything. I agree. Saying that Candace is emotional, that is not an example of colorism. And I don't understand why Candace even brought it up. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second issue that I had, you know, is they were given the option to bring in a third party, which is what they needed, and instead they're like, no, we don't want to bring in a third party. We would rather have the discussion amongst ourselves. Yeah, y'all want to have, the reason why y'all don't want a third party to come in is because y'all don't want to be held accountable. A third party wouldn't have any bias. A third party wouldn't have any loyalty to any of y'all. A third party is more likely to call one of y'all out and hold your feet to the fire. Y'all y'all didn't want that. Y'all wanted to keep the conversation in-house. Well, how can y'all grow and unlearn your colorism if you're only talking about it amongst the people in the group? Furthermore, if majority of the cast is light-skinned, then how the hell are y'all gonna have a discussion about colorism? A productive one at that. Wouldn't you need the perspective of dark-skinned people? The fuck? Like, Candace and Wendy, that's not enough. Andy gonna say, oh yeah, you know, we asked the ladies what they would feel comfortable with, and they said that they would prefer for us to just keep the conversation in-house. Of course you would feel more comfortable with that. How the hell, how do y'all have a discussion about colorism with a group of women who don't experience it? Like, the whole purpose of these conversations is to make people uncomfortable. You have to be uncomfortable in order for us to see real change. But y'all don't want to change. That's really what it comes down to. Y'all are not interested in changing. And that's why y'all don't want to have these conversations. It was just very lackluster. It was very as a matter of fact. Y'all just, it was almost like a quota. Like, I hated the way y'all treated us, and this is a slap in the face to your majority black audience. This is a slap in the face to black women. Period. The reason why we have to talk about colorism on the show so vehemently in comparison to other Bravo shows is because it's mostly light-skinned women on the show. Housewives of Atlanta is not like that. It's mostly dark-skinned women on the show, so the colorism conversation is not so adamant. But on this show, it's completely different. Child, I was just so annoyed by it. Then, so I think Candace did a horrible job moderating the conversation. She does not have the range to have the conversation. She made the whole discussion about herself, and she didn't even do a good job giving examples of colorism. As I said earlier, people describing Candace as emotional is not an example of colorism. Okay, people saying that Candace deserved to get her ass whooped. And is though. People making excuse for violence against Candace. That is an example of colorism. But if we're really being honest, the person who has experienced the most colorism on the show is Wendy. And it's no coincidence that Wendy is also the darkest one. You see how that works? Wendy has been described as ferocious. Wendy has been assaulted multiple times and nobody came to her defense. Oh, Ashley did, but barely. Barely no one came to her defense. Mia was never reprimanded for assaulting Wendy. You see what I'm saying? That Wendy is the one who experiences the most colorism. So really and truly, if anyone should have been moderating the conversation, it should have been her. Okay? Child, I'm just over it. I'm so over it. That Candace starts off the conversation by defining colorism, and even in her definition she describes it as the exclusion of dark-skinned women, and that we see that on the show because there's not that many it took y'all 3 seasons to even have a dark-skinned woman on the show, because season 1 and season 2 y'all had a majority light-skinned cast, and here we are season 7 and it's still the same thing. That is an example of colorism in itself. Why don't y'all have no dark-skinned women on the show? Why don't y'all bring a scholar on the show? Why are the majority of the castmates on the show light-skinned? Why are all the friends of the show light-skinned? Do dark-skinned people not exist in Potomac? I'm not understanding. These women don't want to be held accountable for their actions. I don't appreciate y'all trying to, like, you know, I don't appreciate y'all basically adhering to their comfort level and trying to make light-skinned colorist women feel comfortable. Why don't y'all try to make dark-skinned women feel comfortable? Why don't y'all try to make people who are actual victims of colorism feel comfortable? If you do not experience colorism, then there's no way that you can have and that's another thing. I don't care to hear Mia, Giselle, Robin. If you are a light-skinned woman, I don't care to hear your opinion on something that you're not affected by. Y'all should have brought in a dark-skinned woman to moderate this conversation. The women on the show, including Candace, do not have the range for the conversation. The only person who has the range for this conversation, the only person that has the range to discuss colorism on the show is Wendy. Everyone else is dense. Because, again, and that's another thing. I'm so tired of y'all. Well, I feel that's how Candace feels. Stop trying to make colorism Stop trying to make it a feeling. It's not like, oh, well, no, that's not how it works. Colorism is a system, an oppressive system. It has very little to do with feelings. It is facts. It is a fact that dark-skinned women, not only we have less access to health care. There are higher cases of police brutality against dark-skinned women. These are facts. These are not just feelings. Like, y'all are trying to make it about, oh, Candace's feelings is hurt, and so that's an example of colorism. No, it's not. I want to know what the pay rate is. I bet you Giselle is the highest paid woman on the show. I bet you the lighter skinned women are the highest paid women, when really Candace is the show. I bet you Candace has a lower rate than Giselle and probably Karen. That is an example of colorism. Let's talk about the economics. Like, yeah, there were no examples. There were no statistics. How do you have a conversation regarding colorism with no statistics? Girl, what? Y'all would have been better off bringing my black ass or bringing someone from social media up to moderate the conversation. Y'all dropped the ball. And it felt very remnant of basketball wise when Mark Lamont Hills, I will never forgive Shawnee O'Neal and Mark Lamont Hill for the way they handled the situation with OG and basketball wise. But that's how it felt. It felt very like, we're just gonna do this for PR. And I'm so disgusted. I'm so annoyed. Lastly, Ashley also says, I acknowledge my privilege, and Candace get to crying, and she's like, that's all I needed. Well, that's not all I needed, and that's not enough. Like, just simply acknowledging your privilege does not absolve you of colorism. It's not that's a part of it. Don't get me wrong, it's important, but it's not like the end all be all. Where what really deserves acknowledgement is when you unlearn your behavior. Make a daily effort to unlearn your colorist behavior and undo some of the decisions that you have made. That is when your effort should be rewarded. That is when your effort should be acknowledged, but not you just acknowledging, colorism exists and I benefit from it. That's not enough. So I was annoyed with that. I was annoyed by Ashley saying that and thinking that was enough, and I was annoyed by Candace pandering to her, and now she feels like she has the approval of a dark-skinned woman, so she's in the clear. Candace, like and the fact that she said that Candace said that she doesn't believe that any of the women on the show are colorists. Bitch, are we watching the same show? Are you serious? Giselle is a colorist. Flat out. Karen is a colorist. Ashley, who described Wendy as ferocious, is a colorist. Mia is a colorist by association because she's okay with colorism, with her benefiting from it. Mia still being on this show is an example of colorism. She was being violent towards a dark-skinned woman and she was never penalized. All these women are colorists. What are you talking about? I don't think y'all and dark-skinned people can be colorists too. Dark-skinned people can be colorists towards other dark-skinned people. Look at Kenya Moore. Another conversation for another day. But yeah, like y'all just another example of colorism. When y'all even said that Wendy wasn't a good fit for the show. Like, Karen, I'm done. I'm done with being played. I'm done with being made a fool. I'm done with the pandering. I'm done advocating for the show. I talk about colorism on the show all the time. And so for y'all to pretend like it doesn't exist or it's just these mere, examples and we can move forward, ain't no moving forward. Until y'all are willing to admit what y'all did and willing to unlearn it and make things right, there is no moving forward. And I don't think I can watch the show. I don't think I can support the show anymore because the colorism is so loud and so blatant and y'all are trying to say that it's not. and I can't get down with that. So we'll see if I'm back. If I'm bored, I might do the last part 3. I might not, because I mean, if I do, it's because I have loyalty to my audience. But if I don't, it's because I just don't want to be gaslit anymore. And then my feelings are hurt. As a dark-skinned black woman who has been supporting this show since season 1, and you know what? That's another thing. Before I go, the audience is also part to blame. We are a part of the problem because we keep on watching it. Nene done already told us that Andy was racist. That's what Nene said, allegedly, supposedly. Mariah said the same thing. We see how the black women on this show are mistreated in comparison to the white women on Bravo Network. Okay, how they be having the white women taking them on trips to Greece, Santorini, okay, and all these other, you know, extravagant places, and then we get trips to Athens, Georgia, and Eastern Shore. You see that there's a disparaging treatment amongst the women. The black women on the Housewives Network are not treated as well as the white women are. They get shitty shows. They get trashy, they get crappy vacation spots. I think they probably get lower pay. This has been going on for a while. They literally casted a whole MAGA Trump supporting blatant racist white woman, Asian woman on Housewives of Salt Lake City. So this is no surprise. We've been new. The racism has been clear. The anti-blackness has been clear. You saw how they did Ebony on Housewives of New York. Okay? So this is partly our fault for continuously tuning in. You know, this is why we should just support Carlos King over there at Love and Marriage, because Bravo is just not it. But that's all I got, y'all. Thank you for clicking this video. I didn't even say hello. Hello to my beautiful stones and gems. hello, my beautiful stones and gems. Thank you for clicking this video. Yeah, I don't have nothing to say. Thank you for clicking this video. Please like the video. Let me know what I should talk about next, and I'll be back with some more. Deuces.